something I've said, and I think is true, is that the reason people prefer this often to audiobooks is because it's so unfiltered. Do you know, like it's not edited.
Yeah.
There's been a few times I'll interview somebody and they're like, could you take out like, I had one guy, God bless him, wonderful guy, brilliant guy, good person, but he got back with 8 specific things he wanted removed and we had to go through and fair enough, you know, like he's a scholar and wanted to be precise and fair enough, but I wanted to say like, that's not what this is about. Like, hopefully no one's going to nail you down to something you said on a long form discussion. Whereas they can, if you've written a book and now someone's professionally reading it.
Sure.
Yeah, they can nail you down because that was your crystallized thought.
Yep.
This is us just trying to grasp at conclusions.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, you think about 15 years ago, people used to remove compromising information about themselves on the internet. You remember that? And then they'd like draw attention to it by trying to remove said information.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so it was like whatever. But it's like
the Streisand effect. I think Barbara Streisand had a house.
That's exactly. But it's fascinating now. It's like it seems that we're past the cancellation dispensation, like entirely past it.
It feels that way, right?
Because like it kind of doesn't matter. And maybe that's on the one hand bad because it would seem to signify that nothing matters and no one cares.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's kind of good because I think we're coming to an appreciation of like what's actually happening when two people talk to each other.
Be sure to download Truthly. Truthly is like ChatGPT, went to OCIA, got baptized, and now is on a mission to evangelize the world. Check it out, Truthly.ai.
Because like when you're in a conversation and you're talking with a guy and you're like, there were like 1 billion people there. He's like, well, actually, you know, there were, 563 million. And it's just like, shut up. Like, that's not how human communion works.
You're right, but you're boring.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Walter.
What?
The Big Lebowski.
Oh.
You're right. You're just being... choice word.
Okay, my wife and I say that line to each other all the time. You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole. Am I wrong? No.
So it's like, what's happening? Like, what's happening between two human beings? I mean, you're just kind of working your way through life.
Yeah.
Just giving it a go.
Yep.
And there might be some imprecision, but if you stand in a kind of position of authority and say, this is the case, and it's not the case, okay, let's check you on that. Or if you're like a guru and it's like, follow me, it's like, that's kind of creepy, potentially abusive. So let's not do that. But I think one of the things that's fun about podcasts is just like, let's have a conversation, the type of conversation that we'd have at 10 p.m. And let's just cut loose. And I think that the expectation is that the conversation will be received in that spirit.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like, it was funny. I was having a chat with a woman recently, you know, and I don't mean to cast aspersions in any way, but I guess one conversation.
But here we go.
Yeah, exactly. One conversation that we had, I was just saying like, you don't need to add to the rosary.
Dude, we've had a whole clip. We had a whole conversation about this.
Yeah.
A lot of people watched it.
Yeah, and a lot of people feel strongly about that, which is fine. People can feel strongly about stuff.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. I think the basic point that we're making is sometimes in group situations when people insist on adding to the rosary, it can kind of bog it down and make others who aren't as into that or haven't signed up for that feel captive or prisoner. That's the whole point.
Yes.
And then this woman wanted to communicate to me that like for her it's very meaningful to pray the rosary in this way with these additions, and that she was hurt by the way in which I like said it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you.
Did she say this to you in person?
She did, yeah.
God bless her, at least for doing that.
And then it was funny. Like I was like, okay, cheers. You know, like I mean, there wasn't like further things to be said. She just wanted to communicate that point, and I was like, thank you for communicating that point. But then I saw her subsequently, and it was like she went to apologize at having put it in the way that she did because it was somewhat aggressive, and then she said, comma. But the thing is, and then like reaffirmed the same point, and I was like, this is where we are. You know, just living our little human lives. So I think that there is abiding incomprehension as to what human conversation involves, and I think that it is hard to hold everyone in mind and heart when you have a conversation, anyone who could participate in said conversation, because it's potentially impossible. Yeah. And you don't want to say things that are purposefully ugly or purposefully hurtful or purposefully disrespectful. But if you're trying to account for the sensitivities of all persons on the surface of the earth, you end up saying nothing.
Yes.
And that's ultimately inhumane because it's inspired by fear and it's paralytic rather than genuinely free.
I've said this before. If you're so worried about how you're being perceived by, as you say, potentially everybody, you will end up as interesting as dentist art. It's like, it's fine. Or think of hotel advertisements in elevators. You've never read one unless you were that bored.
Yeah.
You don't care. It's not saying anything interesting.
Yeah.
But it's definitely saying nothing offensive.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point of it. It's supposed to appeal to everybody and therefore appeals to nobody. So, look at me in the eyeballs. This is the last month you can get this Pints with Aquinas beer stein for free. Just this month, the last month, April. So go over to mattfradd.locals.com. When you become an annual supporter, you'll get a bunch of free things in return, and we'll send you this, but it runs out at the end of the month. You won't be able to get it next month. So please become a supporter today, mattfradd.locals.com.